Hello, sir. Good morning.
Oh, good
Good
morning.
morning.
Thank you.
Good
I
morning,
thought you
sir.
were having trouble hearing me from your end.
Can I hear you?
No, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So,
Oh, yes, I'm with you. I'm with you. Hello.
have we started?
The class is going to commence soon.
Hello?
The class is going to commence. So,
So no, where are we starting?
okay. Good morning. You're welcome to the class. Last class, we talked about system development, life cycle, and quality assurance. Discussed so many things. Started from QA integration, the system or software development process. For today's class, we have software development life cycle and then QA process and documentation. Mr. Manuel, please, you can mute your mic. So quickly, I would like us to review what we discussed last class regarding QA integration in system development lifecycle. Uh, we talk about recognizing the phases of software development lifecycle phases, starting from the planning process to the last process, which we can also refer to as deployment or release. And I remember we make use of a simple login page as a scenario, simple login page. We tested the page to ensure if it meets the requirement regards quality assurance. Today we are going to be looking at the QA process and documentation. QA process and documentation. I remember from the first introduction of quality assurance, the system development process. I gave us some outlines about the quality assurance process. Who can remind us of one? No, I believe I shared the PDF. I'm talking about the class on the introduction to software quality assurance. I shared the PowerPoint slide. Referring to the SQA plan, and then we talk about the 4 general steps, which is regarded as a PDCA: plan, do, check, and act. The plan is talking about defining the scope and objectives of the QA process, identifying the quality standards and criteria, developing an SQA plan. The do, that is implementing, check, evaluation, and act, making any necessary changes or improvement. And the last step under the act process is documenting the QA process and results. And during that class, we talk about key stakeholders and their roles. So today we'll be elaborating the QA process and documentation. So in short, we know the QA process involves 4 steps. You can say 4 general steps. First step is a plan. Second step is to do. Third is to check. And the fourth is to act. All these are to ensure that there is a quality around system development. Let me quickly take a brief review of the SQA plan, the document that outlines the process that will be used to guide the QA procedures, measures, and more. And what should be included in SQA plan will be the scope, the roles and responsibilities of the QA team, the types of testing that will be performed. The last class, or someone asked a question regarding which testing are we doing. During that last class, we were making use of the manual testing. We created a login page and we were told to test the page to ensure if it does meet quality assurance requirements. Talking about the security, talking about being validated for functionalities. So we carried out manual testing last class. But I told us, I said, manual testing was because of we are trying to see it ourselves. So in software testing process, we have series of testing, or we have many types of testing, just like we mentioned: unit testing, integration testing, system testing, acceptance testing, and so on and so forth. So we have 2 main types, which we regard to as functional testing and non-functional testing. So a testing process can be either manual or automated, or automatic rather. Is carrying out the test on its own, performing the testing process on its own. And with the scenario given last class.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Please tell them to mute their voices. They are distracting us in the class, please.
Okay, thank you. I just muted the person. Okay. I hope it's better now. All right. So as I was saying, regarding the types of testing, I said we have two major types of testing. We have the functional and we have the non-functional. And the testing can be done either manually or automation. So what we did last class was the manual testing. So if we were to carry out automation testing, or we are to make use of the Selenium WebDriver, other tools or technologies, I told us that we have to go through steps. So instead of testing the login page while entering the credentials, the right one and the wrong one at the same time, or testing it one after the other, we can just decide to make use of some test scripts, code to carry out the testing. We don't have to do it ourselves. The code is going to run the whole testing and ensure that the requirement for quality assurance is being met. So today we have QA process. Let's talk more on QA process. So here we have a complete guide to the QA process. And what are we to achieve for this week topic? Number one, we should be able to recognize the phases of the software development lifecycle and their role in ensuring software quality. Phases in the software development lifecycle. I'm sure we have many phases, starting from the planning to the last phase. We are to compare and construct different SDL methodologies. We have SDL methodologies, we have the waterfall, we have the agile, and DevOps. That DevOps in this objective means development and operations. It is a separate course on its own. This is a situation whereby two departments come together to ensure that there is smooth running of a system development lifecycle. In this process, when a software is being developed by the developer team, the operation team will be in charge of collating feedbacks as regards the software that is being created. So we'll look at evaluating their implications for quality assurance practices. Then we'll talk about the opportunities in each phase of SDLC. Look at the early defects detection and prevention. We analyze benefits and challenges also, and we are going to develop a comprehensive understanding of how QA contribute to the overall success of software development projects. So let's go to the slide for today. I hope you all can see this at your hand. Mr. Manuel, can you see this? Mr. Kenneth, Ms. Comsey or Mrs. Comsey, or Mr. Nathan, can you see this? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see. I can see
Alright.
it.
I can see it.
Okay. So we look at the QA process. Let me make it bold so we can see.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. We look at the QA process. QA process. But when we say QA process is nothing different from identifying and preventing potential issues throughout the entire project. And what is the project? That is the software being created or the software being developed. And in this project, there will be a management. the management involved what we call QA tests. QA tests by individuals. The QA process is implemented by a dedicated team of QA engineers. We have who we call the quality assurance engineers. As a quality assurance professional, you can be in a separate in any field, rather in any field. Let me put it that way. In any field, you can be a QA professional in the field of engineering. That is, you are a QA engineer, or you can be a QA professional in terms of test management. Test management. And at that point, you say you are a test manager in quality assurance field, or you can be the test lead. Test lead and test manager, there is no difference between the two. Test lead is just being part of the test team. Then what's the ultimate goal of quality assurance engineers? To ensure that the company delivers an error-free and high-quality product that provides the best possible user experience. Or in terms of ensuring that there is a satisfactory quality. Let me put it that way. Yes, satisfactory quality. There must be a process. That is why we are looking at the QA process. And all this we have been discussing is just to ensure that for best possible user experience. I've been relating all this explanation to financial applications that we know. When we look at some banking apps, we tend to see differences in usage, differences in interface, and we can also say differences in user satisfaction. For example, now most of us making use of digital bank apps tend to prefer it to traditional bank apps. Let's say, for example, the digital financial app that we know, like Kuda, OPay, Branch. Which other one do we have? We have many. We have many digital financial apps. Tend to be satisfied with the interface, with the mode of operation or functionality compared to our traditional bank apps, GT Bank app, Sterling Bank app. So all we are chasing, or what we are trying to achieve, is the best possible user experience. Best possible user experience. So how is the QA process different from quality control? When we look at QA process, we may think, okay, fine, because it says ensuring company delivers an error-free and high-quality product. There is still difference between the QA process and quality control. QA process and quality control, yeah. QC, rather, quality control involves testing the final product, identify and resolve issues before it is released to the market. Yes. And implementing an effective QA process enhances team collaboration. Although the specific stages of the QA process will vary among companies, all stages remain the same. So talking about QA process and QC, quality control. Quality control is just like continuously ensuring that the software or the products being developed or produced still maintains quality and still maintains the achievement or still maintains the objective. Let's put it that way. The objective, that is the reason why the software is being created. And in quality control, we look at team collaboration, and we look at reducing costs, shortening development time. So let's look at the main stages in the QA process. Main stages in the QA process. And we shouldn't forget that the QA process has 4 general steps. 4 general steps. These 4 general steps can also be regarded as main stages, but in some area we say there is difference between the main stages in QA process and general steps. General steps that is the plan, do, check, and heart. So, and according to the last class, we said every QA process should have PDCA. It should have the plan, it should have the do, the check, and the act. So we have the chart for the QA process stages. Starting from the plan, can we see that there is relation between the general step of the QA process and stages? Planning this test, then to requirement analysis. Before, during the process of planning, rather, there must be requirement analysis. Requirement analysis. So what do I mean by requirement analysis? For example, what software supposed to solve? Because when creating a software, there is a problem. So, and creating a software is to solve a problem. So, what is the requirement? Or should I say software requirement? So, we apply. Then design test cases. During the process of planning, we talk about test cases. We run test cases and report the bugs. Here, we have been carrying out the 2-step. Like I said, general steps should involve plan, do, check, and act. So when you are planning, you are analyzing requirements, and during the process of planning, you will be designing test cases. And after you design test case, you run test cases and report bugs. So while running test cases and report bugs, you are performing the 2-step. Then Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I got disconnected in the this. So I stop at the the design test cases. So at the point of planning the design test cases, so then we move on to running test cases and report bugs. Or like I said, running the test cases and report bugs has to do with checking. No, has to do with the two step rather. Has to do with the two step. According to the four general steps that the PQA process should have. Then after running the test cases and report bugs, we perform regression testing, moving forward and backward in the testing process. Forward and back, perform regression testing. At that point, you are carrying out the check step, because when performing regression testing, you are regressing, you'll be able to fish out the error. Then also error can be left out too in the process whereby you perform a test. After performing a test, if you don't go back and redo the test, perform regression testing, it's likely that you will have a problem. And this is to ensure that there is no error, no bug in the system development process. So the last on the stage of the QA process, we have running release tests. We run release tests, and that is also in relation with the last general step QA process should have, which is act. I think I might have to type that with notepad so we can follow along. If you check the PDF, the PowerPoint slide of rather gave us the PDCA, language check and act. So let's start from the first stage, analyzing the requirements. The key ways, that is quality assurance professionals, you should understand and analyze project requirements. Project requirements. We're talking about project requirements. Okay, we want to develop a software named free. So we understand that okay, this software is a free software, and we name it free. What is our requirement? Are we creating an e-commerce software, or are we creating a software that is based on financial transaction? Are we creating a software for company that is for analysis? Are we creating a software for entertainment? So we look at the project requirements, or we say software requirements. Then we look at the functional and non-functional aspects. Functional and non-functional aspects. When we say functional aspect, a functional aspect is referring to the use of the software. For example, now, when making use of the software, we see what we call the buttons, we see what we call the drop downs, we see what we call the input field. So all those ones are functional, those things that we can test. So talking about the non-functional can also be tested. But non-functional is talking about the runtime process. For example, now we want to open an application and we want the response time to open the application to be so fast. For example, while opening the application, we don't want it to take more than 5 seconds to load, or we just want it to run for about the loading to run for about 1 minute, then it will open. So all those things are what we call non-functional aspects. So according to what we have in our last slide too, talking about the functional and non-functional analysis, you don't forget that hold on please. You don't forget that for the functional, we are testing the pictures, and we are also checking behavior under various inputs and scenarios. So then when we say non-functional is talking about the performance. Like I said, we want to create an application and we want the application to take 5 seconds to load before it opens to the main page or the first page. So that is talking about performance. Security is also part of non-functional. Security is also part of non-functional because during the testing of security, we check about how well it does it. Yes, how well it is secured. So testing analyzing the functional of the project or of the software is looking at what the software does. Then for non-functional, it is looking at how well it does it. So all those ones are under security, usability, reliability, and maintainability. So then during the process of analyzing the requirements, we also talk about fixing a bug at the early stages of development. In this process, we may say, oh, are we into testing? Because we said planning, which is the first stage of the QA process. We have not tested yet, but we are trying to fix the bug from early stages of development. Let's say, for example, we have our pen and paper. We are trying to write down the software requirement. At the point of writing down the software requirement, ideas will be coming out from the team members, trying to analyze that. Okay, fine. This is what the software should be able to do, and this is what the software should be able to address, to meet rather. So at that point, you are fixing a bug from the early stage. Because before a project can come into existence, there must be a problem. So at the point of analyzing the requirement of the software that want to address the problem, you are fixing a bug. So, and at that point, it is less costly and is regarded as fixing a bug at the testing/production stage. So let's look at planning the text. I hope you all can see my screen.
No, we cannot see your screen.
No, please, we can't see your screen.
Oh, I didn't know I didn't share.
I've not been seeing it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Let me share it again. It was because I got disconnected earlier. I'm sorry. I didn't take note of it. Okay. This is the chart I have been discussing. I hope we are back on the same page now. This is the chart we have been discussing, the stages of QA process.
Okay. Yeah.
And I said the planning has to do with the requirement analysis and design test cases. So, and it is also in relation with the 4 general steps we have in QA process, which is plan, do, check, and act. So when we are analyzing the requirement and also planning the test or the design test case, is still on that plan. And when we are running test cases and a report box, it's under do. Performing regression testing. We perform regression testing, it is regarded as check. We are trying to check because going forth and back, we are moving forward in the testing and also returning back to the early stage of the development process to test is regarded as checking. But that's to ensure that there is no error or bug free. So, and when we run the release test, acting, ACT, act. So, and analyzing the requirements, I said while analyzing the requirements, we look at project requirements. What does the software want to address, to meet? But like I said, before the software is being developed, there must be a problem. What is the problem? That is the requirements. And from the requirements, we look at the functional aspect and the non-functional aspect. Like I said, the functional aspect are those ones that are testable while explaining what the software does. And the non-functional aspect are those that are testable while explaining how well does it. So back to what we have discussed earlier in the differences in QA testing. Functional is all about the features and the requirements, the behavior under various inputs and scenarios. Then the non-functional is referring to the performance, security, usability, reliability, and maintainability. So the second process, we have planned the tests. After information has been gathered in requirement analysis, then what we test or what we are to do next, perform the test planning. And the test planning will require the testing strategy. Testing strategy. Don't forget that with our SQA plan, we'll be able to perform the test better because it will serve as guides to the QA processes and measures. So, hello, the person should mute is your mic. Please mute your mic. Always mute your mic. It is important. The sound can be distracting. Okay. The testing strategy, scope, project, budget, and deadlines. Okay, let me start from testing strategy. Testing strategy is related to the QA procedures too. It's related to QA procedures. In a situation whereby you are looking at how you will perform your test, and performing your test, either it's the functional testing or the non-functional testing. So when we say testing scope, that is how far you are going to go with testing scope. Okay, these are the things that are to be tested, and these have been analyzed already. There's no need for test. So we are talking about the range of the test. Then project budget. We also budget for the project. during the test plan, we budget for the project. For example, now we see that all applications tends to have an affiliation with security companies. When we look at financial applications, I'm so sorry I'm making use of financial applications so much. This is because we'll be able to relate better. We see that they are in affiliation with security companies, that is cyber security companies. If we search, we see security companies like Cisco. We see many security companies. If I start mentioning, we have more than hundreds that are in charge of ensuring that an application or software meets the non-functional aspect, which is regarded as security. So in this process, there will be a budget for the project while planning the test, because you've created an application which you want to meet some requirements, and while you want it to meet some requirements, don't forget that requirement includes functional and non-functional aspects. So from the non-functional aspect, which is the security testing, you plan for project budget. For example, you're hiring the company Cisco to look into your software so as to ensure that there is tight security, there's maximum protection of users' data. Is there a question? Okay, let's continue. And also, it should include information about the required types and levels of testing, required types and levels of testing and the testing tools. So from the planning process, that is the test planning process, we look at the levels of testing. There are various levels of testing. Various levels of testing is different from types of testing. You don't forget that types of testing include functional and non-functional. And from the functional aspect, we have the unit testing, integration, acceptance, system, and from the non-functional aspect, we include the performance testing, security testing, usability, and compatibility. So when we say level of testing, level of testing is just like talking about the testing scope. The level of testing is regarded as the testing scope. Let me quickly show us something from my screen so we can understand the levels of testing better. We have, like I said, we have testing by scope. So let me type this so we can jot that our note. I'm going to share this link, this website link, so we can follow up after classes. So we have testing level by scope. So that's the first one, testing level by scope. I believe I'm still online with everyone. Chineye, Johnson, Gibbs, Nathan.
Yes, yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, that's good. So testing levels by scope. From this testing level by scope, now we can say, okay, fine. This scope now, we don't want it to extend to testing the whole part, or should I say the whole included phases in our software requirement. For example, now, when we say unit testing, it is testing of a single unit of the software development process, software development cycle rather, or we say system testing or component integration testing. So from system testing, we know we have various units. We are not testing them together. So we can say testing by scope. We say, okay, fine. We are not carrying out system testing. We are carrying out the unit testing. We test each unit involved in the system development process. That is by scope. So we are looking at range. Either we test one by one in a simple understanding, testing one by one rather instead of unit testing, or we say testing together, that's system testing. So that is by scope. So we have testing by depth. We have testing by levels, testing levels by depths. So back to the last scenario, that is the testing of the simple login page. What we did for that simple login page was testing levels by depth. So from the testing level by depth, we carry out what we call surface testing. Surface testing. We have the login page, and we are trying to input valid credentials to see if it is going to log in successfully. Then we use the invalid credentials to see if it's going to pop out error message. At that point, we are testing by depth. And when we say surface testing, it's also same thing as functional testing. We are looking at, okay, fine. Does it verify the features? Does it verify the features? And according to the features of the simple login page, the feature is to ensure that the valid credentials match and able to log in successfully. And the features is to ensure that if invalid credentials are being inputted by users, pop out error message. So we are testing by depth. We are performing the functional and the non-functional testing too, but we call it surface testing, or we say depth testing. And it's also same thing as exploratory, pardon my pronunciation, exploratory testing, which is same thing as ad hoc. Ad hoc. Let's add testing by depth. So in bracket we say surface or depth, or I think I'll have to reduce this. So, or we say exploratory, exploratory, which is same thing as ad hoc, ad hoc, ad hoc, ad hoc. What does that ad hoc mean in that sentence? Ad hoc is when we say for a particular purpose. For a particular purpose. So we are testing for a particular purpose. That is testing by depth. Or we say surface, or we say exploratory. Is also same thing, or same meaning as a ad hoc. So we have another level of testing. We have testing pyramid. Testing pyramid can be, let me include it here. Testing pyramid. But we can't say by pyramid, we say testing pyramid. That is another level of testing. So we can say it is a unit testing, that is from base. So when we say pyramid, we all know pyramid shape. Let me bring out shape of a pyramid, so it will be easier for us to get the logic. So let's make use of this shape. Can we see this?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, very good. Look at what we have here, pyramid. So we can see that the screen is showing the hand symbol of the mouse. I'm pointing at the top now. I'm pointing at the top. So in testing pyramid, we have three rather. We have three. We have unit testing from base. We have integration testing. So still on the levels of testing, we are just trying to elaborate that place, we are just trying to explain that process the more, or under the planning process, that is the text planning process. So I won't take much time. I just want us to understand, because it is the essential part or the essential process in quality assurance, the essential process in the stages of quality assurance. So we have unit testing from base, integration testing, which is from the middle, and the last one we have system testing. Which is from the top. Okay, back to the pyramid shape now. Before a pyramid can be built, they started from the bottom. Yes or no? From the bottom, the
Yeah.
square part. Thank you so much, sir. The square part. So at that point, we can say, okay, this is our testing now. We are trying to plan the level of test we want to make use of, which is testing by pyramid. We start from the base, which is unit testing, the bottom. Then okay, we can now move on and say, okay, it is this part or this part here, the middle. Then we say that is testing pyramid with integration testing, which we are starting from the middle. Then unit testing, system testing, which is the last, that is starting from the tip here, the top. So those are the three levels of testing we have: testing by scope, by depth, and testing pyramid. Testing using pyramid. Let's put it that way. Testing using pyramid. So I believe we are able to jot down this before I close. Can I close?
Yes.
No,
We can. Yes, we can take a screenshot instead. All right.
So I'm still writing.
Please, there are no
Okay.
attendance.
Oh, I just said drop the list. I said there is attendance. Just drop your name. I think I did that before I commenced the class. So it
I
is
didn't
going
see
to
the
be.
link, sir.
No, it wasn't link. It wasn't link. I'm talking about the attendance. I said you
So
people
how
should drop names.
Go
Drop
to
names.
income.
Drop names for attendance. Drop names for attendance. Just do that. Okay, I think maybe for the next class, I'm going to create a link for attendance, which I will drop here, and each every one of you is going to sign. But I don't want to do anything that is going to seem like the link can be shared on the WhatsApp group, whereas people who are not in attendance will now sign. But before that, maybe I would have come up with a better idea. But let's drop our names again, please. I know we were disconnected. Let's drop it again. If I can quickly take a picture or screenshot to capture us for the class. Thank you so much. So back to the stages in a QA process. We've just concluded the levels of testing. So testing tools, testing tools, testing tools, testing tools. If we go online, we see we have many testing tools. Testing tools that are based on testing, that are specifically based on testing. We have testing tools that are in relation with test management too. So we have various testing tools. From the process of planning, we are going uh, to include information of our testing tools. So we know we have various testing tools. We have some certain testing tools that can be used for same purpose. So we can now choose between the testing tools we prefer to use. We have the design test. That is the third stages in the QA process. Design test. So at this point, the QA teams is going to create test cases. I hope my background is not noisy. Hello.
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay, all right. Because I just had the instruction at this place here.
Somebody should be muted. Esther, please.
Okay. Please hold on while I take a have to run the code again for us to see and also to be able to follow up with the explanation. And let me check where I save it. Okay, I have it in design backup. But pardon me to open this application so quick. Okay, while the application is running in the background, we are here to look at waterfall and waterfall agile and DevOps. Waterfall agile and DevOps. Talk about recognizing the phases of software development lifecycle. I believe that was this identifying opportunities to integrate QA activities into each phase of the SDLC, early defect detection and prevention. Okay, we achieved that objective last class too during the scenario of the login page. So I have my virtual studio code here. Please hold on. Let me create a new file. I believe you can see this one. Now, whoever is listening to respond to
Yes, we are seeing the screen. Seeing it.
Okay, I'm glad you're seeing it. So hold on, I just want to run this code so I can explain. Running it side by side with the while explaining will help us understand better. That's what I'm trying to do. I just created a folder now on name3 MTT class, and I pick the folder for my virtual studio. So let me create a file. Yes, I trust the authors. I'm creating a file now. A file named login.html. I think this was the same process we used during the practical session. Anything has not changed. So let me open the text code. Then as usual, I will copy and paste. At your hand there, please. Very important you do a screen record, please. Let's screen record this. You understand? Let's screen record. We can watch it over and over again. So, and also let me address this. The question someone keep asking the question: do you require the knowledge of coding to become a QA professional? I should say it is ideal, or let's say important, yes, and beneficial too. So you may not know how to code at all, but you shouldn't be far away from understanding the basic knowledge of the programming Like you should be able to know programming languages and the uses of some programming languages. Yes, that's just general knowledge of programming language. Very important because most time as a QA professional, we don't code. We don't code, and what we do the most is to write test scripts, and that test script is same thing as coding, but not deep as a software developer or as a as a software tester. So we and like I said, and I've been saying it that you can be a QA professional in a different category or in a different aspect. Let's say, for example, you are a QA professional in software testing. You are a QA professional in test management, and you can be a QA professional in gathering what we call documents, that is documentation. So I've copied the code. Let me open the Virtual Studio code and I paste. So I'm going to save. Okay, it's on auto save already. I think I'll have to increase the screen appearance. So let me zoom in. Okay, can we see this now? Is it much better?
Yes, yes.
All right. So as you can see here now, so I'm going to open the folder and run the login page. I want to run the login page. I'm running the login page here now. I'm running the login page. Very good. Can we see this login page?
Yes.
Thank you for responding. So I just make it bigger. So let's run a simple test case on this login page. First of all, someone should come up with an idea of a test case ID. Test case ID. Number one is the test case ID. Test case ID. We can just decide to say the test case ID. We are making use of TC, that is test case abbreviation TC. Then TC what? 001, because it is our first test case. You can say TC 001. Then test case name. Test case name. What's our test case name? I know we may not have an idea on this, but let's follow. And I believe at the end of the class, we'll be able to do it on our own. So let me reduce the size of this. So test case name is what login functionality. Login functionality. At this point, we have our plan, the test plan. We have our test plan. Okay, let's look at the objective. You know, a test plan should have objective. We are trying to do what? Verify successful login. Have we started the screen recording? Very important. Valid credentials. Credentials. Uh, then we look at preconditions. 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 The precondition is what? User account exists. Okay, we don't have a database yet because every login page do have a database. We haven't created anything called database. We should understand that database is where the login page is going to fetch user data from. For example, now everybody has a Facebook account. We have TikTok and any other social media accounts that you must have created. They have their database where they store our information, our data at the point of creating an account. that is their database. So whenever you want to log in, it's going to fetch your data. If valid, let's put it that way, if valid, it's going to fetch your data, from the database. So and here we don't have a database, so we shouldn't just say user account exists. So what we are trying to look at from the precondition is to the valid username and password. So let's put it like that. There's nothing like user account exists. So and what's the step? You can see we are performing the we are creating a test case now. So one, open application. So pardon me to short this. I don't want to type so much URL. Then two, we enter valid username. Okay. Test case is also same thing as writing an algorithm. Writing an algorithm for a test. Let me put it that way. But in this process, after writing an algorithm, we are going to target an ID, name and objective. That is why we call it a case. You know, anything involving a case has a specific digit attached to it. The lawyer should understand this better. Yes or no? If you are fighting for land or something, anything, they will tell you this is the test case. This is the case. So this thing for whichever thing you are fighting for. So although that is in law, but in software development process and quality assurance, we call it test case because it's the case for it. So enter valid. Hello, are we online?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you
we
now.
are.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I believe I wasn't disconnected while I was explaining test case. The main reason why we call it test case. I said it is an
You were
algorithm.
disconnected, so you can't
Oh,
see that.
sorry. I said test case is also same thing as algorithm. Can you see the screen? Or
Yes, yes.
the okay. Test case is an algorithm. Test case is also referred to as an algorithm. Let me put it in brackets. Test case can also can also be referred to as an algorithm algorithm of test design. No, not test design. Or you can say test design or test plan. That is the step-by-step procedure. So in test case, we are not going to draw charts, or else we should have called it an algorithm and a flow chart of test plan. So here we are just bringing our step-by-step procedure for the testing process. So we open the application URL. I've opened the application URL. Can you see the URL? It is a local URL in my system. If it is if it is a public URL or should I say a web URL, it will have started with www dot. Do you understand? So, but here it is a local URL. We call it FTP URL. That is, it is being accessed offline. So, back to the steps. You enter valid username. So let me quickly write out the steps before I start the practical. So then 4, You click login button. So, are you writing? Or are we taking screenshots?
You are writing.
Okay, and we can take screenshot to make it faster. So, and screen recording is very important too for you to be able to watch over and over again. Then what is the expected result? User is redirected to the dashboard. To the dashboard. Redirected to dashboard. So I haven't designed a dashboard page yet. That is the main reason why I make use of accessing a local dashboard file at this point. Can we see the window.location.ref/dashboard? This is a local
Yes.
dashboard. This is a local dashboard. A local dashboard. And where is that local dashboard located in my system? I want everybody to watch my screen. It is being located in the local disk file. Local disk file. Okay, I haven't created one yet, so I'm going to create a new folder now named dashboard. So this I want you to access this. Okay, let me put it in capital letter so we can see it. It is bold from that end, and I think I will have to change the view option to large icons. Can we see it is the last on the list here? Dashboard. So we want the login page. Let's go back to our test case now. We want the login page to bring out a result. And what is the expected result? The user. Who is the user? The person logging in to be redirected to dashboard. And what's the details of the person logging in? User at example. Then what's the password? Password 123. Password 123. So back to our test case. We still have another thing under the expected results. We have a username is displayed on dashboard. Okay, that one doesn't concern us. Why? Because we haven't finished the creation of the dashboard. We only created a local dashboard folder here. So let's leave that. We have actual results and pass/fail status. So from the expected results, we have what we call actual results too. Okay, actual results. What's the actual result? We are going to record observed outcome. What is the observed outcome? That is, we are being redirected. That is what we observe. Then what is the pass/fail status? Oh, this is talking about we to record either it's login successful or does not login. That is, there is an error message. So okay, then we have types of test case. We have types of test case. Test case for functional, test case for regression, test case for performance, security, usability, and so on and so forth. So then test case prioritization. We look at a high priority. So that is in our resource link. Once I share the resource link, you people can continue to read and explore. You carry out the exploratory test on your own. That is for depth and knowledge. So test case management tools. We have an example like test rate. Let me give us the example on the screen here. Test case management tools. We have test rate. We have test link. We have test link. We have test link. We have test link. So then from here we also have version control systems. Version control systems. We have version control systems under test case documentation. So the version control system is different from the test case management tools. So this version control system is just talking about when we are developing a test case, we are going to develop a test case for the first version of a software being created. For example, now this our login page. Now it is our first practical, which we have named the test case 001. And let's say in the next class or next two classes ahead of us, we created another login page which is more improved, or which has been improved than this. We can say, okay, fine. The previous one was a login 1.1 version, and this recent one that we are going to create in next class, we can now name that one a login page 1.2 version. So we say there should be a test case for version control systems. So that one will be during the course of development and operations. So I can take it out. Don't really need it in this class. So back to the practical. Now let's start the step. We open the app URL. We have opened the app URL here. So what does the test case says? Let me close this so I can easily navigate. So what does the test case say? Enter valid username. So let's enter valid username now. User at example.com. So let me remove this at and then try to press this. And then press any password I want. Let me just put 0000 and I will click login. So what is it showing? What's the error message? Please include an heart in the email address. That was the integration of QA in the phase of development lifecycle. That is in the design process. I don't know if you remember. Let's go back to that slide. Open that slide and be able to understand better. So you can see now it's bringing error message because it is not a valid email address. There should be hearts in each email address. So, and according to our objective, we've seen the role of ensuring software quality. So, while imputing invalid credential, if your application can sense the invalid credential and pop up an error message, so that means you've achieved one of the phase of software development lifecycle and one of the integration of QA in the phase rather. So let's go back to our practical. So I'm going to include the correct credentials now, the valid one. I'll press password in small caps, small letters, PASSWORD 123. So we click login. So once I click login, what can we see on the screen here? Dashboard. Does it work?
Yes.
Very good. So we've logged in successfully to the dashboard folder, or we say page. So we can see that we've derived a test case. What did our test case bring out? The result, which is redirecting user to the dashboard. And I said test case will always include the expected results. And what's the actual result? We record the observed outcome. That is, during the point of recording, we may look at the time response too. We jot down the time response, that is recording time response, the observed outcome. Let's say there is a problem and this thing was loading, just like the way my mouse pointer is moving, loading, and it didn't log in. That too is also part of the actual results. Then we look at pass and fail status, but here we are recording pass status only because it was successfully logged in. So, and what do we use to manage the test case tools? test grade. It is with the application of test grade that we are going to record the observed outcome, and we are going to record the test link. And I'm sure you people have been waiting for the use of this application test grade, the application test link, and also other testing tools too, like the Selenium web driver. But the main reason why we haven't started anything is because of we are looking at the manual testing first. Let's understand the process of the manual testing before moving on to the use of the automation tools, that is, the technologies that can be used to perform the test without having to run it manually. So let's go back to our slide. We have some minutes left to the end of the class. So we have preparing the staging environment for test execution. Yes, preparing the environment. And what is the staging environment? The production environment, which includes the hardware, software, network configurations. Network configurations. In some applications, we notice that the time or date, incorrect time or date, can affect our this thing, our ability to
Data.
log into the dashboard. Yes or no? Am I correct? Sometimes
Yes.
if your system date is incorrect, you may not be able to log into to your web browser, like Google, for example. It will show you should adjust your date and time. So, and apart from that, network configurations too, databases and system settings. So all those staging environments can affect or can have effects on the designing the test rather. Then what does it help us to do to ensure accurate testing conditions? And four, executing the test and reporting defects. You execute test and you report defects. We look at the API and the user interface. That is UI, the API level and the user interface. When we say API has to do with the application programming interface. For example, now this particular software I'm making use of, this Notepad software, it has what we call application programming interface. Application programming interface. And it also have what we call UI interface. UI is talking about it is, how it appears at the hand of the user. For example, now I'm making use of it now. This is how it appears at my hand. Then talking about application programming interface, that is the back end when this application is being created. Look at the application here, Notepad. I'm pointing at it, Notepad. So the user interface is talking about the appearance on your screen. Appearance on your screen. So likewise, other applications in mobile phones, the appearance on user screen, and the application programming interface, that is the appearance at the point of uh, creating the application or software. So manual tests are conducted based on pre-designed test cases. So for the execution of tests and reporting defects. So we say identified bugs will be recorded in a defect tracking system for efficient management. And we can use the tools like Test Sigma. I'm making use of this site. This site can help us to to record identified bugs. So it's just like making use of paper and pen to jot down a problem. But here we are not jotting down the problem with paper and pen, because paper and pen will require us to create a tabular form, and from there you put your identified bugs, the the test case of the software that has that bug. So, but with the help of application, we just make use of The two, to record the identified bugs. So, and that is for efficient management. Just like we have Microsoft Excel for recording a large database, for keeping records of individual data. If you have 7 million records of people, let's say people's results, or let's say like our this thing, our voting system, the HINEC, the people in charge of our voting system. You see, those records of our voting cards, they have it in a database, and they stored it making use of an application that can efficiently manage the records. So instead of just having a paper and pen, you have a tool, Test Sigma, and with that we can execute test script and also generate detailed test reports. So you may be wondering that why have we not carried out the practical on making use of this? Like I keep repeating, manual testing first. Manual testing. If you have a paper and pen there, you can just run your own login page, then you perform these steps, jot down your expected results, and you jot down your actual results, and then pass/fail status. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next stage. We rerun tests, or we say regression tests. Don't forget the chart. We perform regression testing, going forth and back. So we do it over and over again. And we are doing it to validate and ensure that we didn't miss any user scenario. Any user scenario. You know, we are working with user. If you are building an application, you are working with user. And the reason is because of the application won't be limited to just the company. It's going to be a public use. So, and we don't want to miss any user scenario. And additionally, it is to confirm that physics haven't caused any negative impact. Do you actually believe that if there's an adjustment in software or in an application, and you move forward, that adjustment can cause problem? Who can answer that question? Or do we believe yes or no? Hello? Esther comes in Ethan or Sarah. Are we
What
still
was your
live? My question is that do we believe any fix, I'm highlighting the sentence here, any fix, that is when we make any adjustment, it can cause negative impact? Yes. We are trying
yes?
to fix a problem, to fix an error, to fix a bug, or eradicate, that is remove a bug. But that process of removing bug can cause negative impact on the existing functionalities. That is the existing
Yes.
functionality that does not have any problem, and we now see a problem and we tend to fix it. At the point of fixing, it has caused problem for another for the existing functionality or another functionality. Okay. Let's say, for example, look at my screen. I'm trying to make it responsive. Can we see? This site is responsive on a tab view. Can you see on a tab view? Can you see what it's showing? On a tab view,
Yes.
this tab is going to appear. Okay, if I now maximize it to a laptop screen, look at how it is going to appear. Can you see?
Yes.
If I point at this drop down, this menu bar drop down, the resources, you can see the way the thing is showing. Let's say, for example,
Yes.
now I don't want a situation whereby it will show and pull the whole screen of the system. I want to make an adjustment whereby I will close up this gap between learn, engage, and company. At the point of fixing it, at the point of fixing the problem of creating the space, of closing the space between this company, learn, and engage, I may cause negative impact on this mobile appearance. Do you understand?
Yes, yes.
So when you fix a problem, it can cause a negative impact on the existing functionality. So then we run release test. So running release test. So we look at test automation as a part of the QA process. Look at the approaches we have. We're talking about manual testing and automated testing. So this site is rich for the understanding of QA process. So very, very rich. Then let's look at why should QA processes be implemented. We have 9 minutes, so I'm ending off. So yeah, the explanation is going to explain the comprehensive understanding of how QA contributes to the overall success of software development projects across different SDL methodologies. Okay, talking about waterfall and agile DevOps, let me quickly divide into these three. Like I said, DevOps is relating to the department, two departments in the software development process, the development team and the operations team coming together for the purpose of ensuring customers' feedback is being addressed. Yes, we address customer feedback. So talking about the waterfall agile, when we talk about waterfall, we know that waterfall is like the normal waterfall we know about. Water dropping from the mountain, coming from the top, coming from the top, coming from the top. Let me quickly show us an image of a waterfall. So waterfall model, waterfall model. So look at waterfall model. That is the linear sequential approach to the software development lifecycle. So and from this process, we are going to start our model from requirement design. Can you see the screen? The requirement design and I think I make it big now. Let me go down. Oh, it's not that big. Okay. So requirement design, development testing, deployment, and maintenance. Can you see the way the thing is falling? That's why we call it waterfall model, or just like step-by-step process from the beginning. So when we look at the agile method so quick, agile method, agile method so quick. What do you have for agile method? Agile method is a cycle process. A cycle process. Plan, design, develop, test, deploy, review. You do it, so on and so forth. Like keep repeating the process. So back to our objective. The benefit and challenges associated with incorporating QA into different SDL methodologies. Yes, we have challenges. We have challenges associated. We have challenges. And the challenges associated can be so complex too. Can be so complex. But before that, let's look at the QA processes being implemented and the risks of not implementing it. So dissatisfied users, reputational damage, trust issues, sales impact, compatibility problems, distraction and delays, lack of QA involvement, challenges, deployment challenges. These deployment challenges can also be part of the challenges in incorporating QA into different deployment challenges. Deployment challenges. So, and the benefits, on the other hand, satisfied user, high product quality. Then these are the tools, the test sigma. So we have a UI testing, API, and so on and so forth. So I think I have to round up at this point. So, and the next thing we have here is to discuss the documentation. The documentation. Documentation will always be the last thing under QA process. After QA process has been followed, you will carry out documentation. So, so the documentation is just when you are trying to gather all the information of your test case, test plan. So the test plan, that's SQA plan, software quality assurance plan. So yeah, okay. I think I showed us the OP documentation. OP documentation. We made use of OP documentation. OP documentation. So that is so simple. OP documentation where we have the policy agent and so on and so forth. Uh, that shows the OP documentation. That's during the introduction to this course. So look at it. This is where we talk about everything. You can see that the OP documentation is referring to the tools and technologies being used, API, Kubernetes, and
Excuse me, sir.
yes, what's the question?
It's like you are too fast. I'm not getting
Uh,
it.
oh yeah, at this point I'm trying to round up. The time is up. We have 3 minutes. So, and I've explained the QA process so far. Documentation is just about gathering the whole information about the process to ensure that if users are going through the software usage, the software usage guide, they will be able to understand that uh, proper processes has been carried out. Do you understand? For example, now, before you make use of an application, you'll be able to understand that okay, this application is reliable, yes or no, reliability. And secondly, if it is secured. So at the point of performing the QA process, the last thing we do is to document. And doing the documentation is going to include the QA process. Then we also gather the information of our test plan and so on and so forth. So that's the end. Any question? Or I think our question can be pasted on the group so I can address it because I have another class coming up soon. How was the practical so far explaining the test case? Mr. Nathan, Mrs. Comsey, and Gift, Esther, Sarah, Chineye. So, how do we say it? Hello?
How do we work?
Okay, I think the class will end now.
Uh-huh.
Yes, we have 1 minute to class.
Thank you, sir, for your time.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, sir, you're welcome. And also, I believe we are able to screen record, so to watch over and over again. Anyone with the screen record should um, post it in the group, please. Please post. Please post. I appreciate if you post.
Please, sir, send in the material, please.
Yes, I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Immediately I end this meeting, I'm going to do that. I will
Thank you,
send
sir.
the link. All right, thank you so much. Ms. Peace, how is today class?
It was awesome.
I think there was no distraction today.
Yes, no distraction.
Okay, all right. I'm so glad.
I hope you will not call me this week.
I hope you not do it.
You will not call me thinking
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
for 3 entity.
Sorry. I've included your name among those, so don't mind me. All right. I strike out the name already, so I won't call you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Thanks. Have a nice day. All right,
All
fellows.
right.
Thank you so much for your time, and I hope in this journey we are going to achieve a lot. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh.